everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. So I have been doing some research and I have come up with almost a full face of viral TikTok makeup hacks. TikTok I think can be very hit and miss with the sort of information and hacks you get on there. What better way to just test them out all in one hit on my face? So yeah, as I said, I've pretty much got a whole face here, so this will be really interesting to see how it works out. I wasn't really sure what to do for eyebrows because I didn't think there was many viral hacks going on at the moment. So I'm just going to do something that I haven't done on my channel before, and that is soap brows. I don't do soap brows because I think it can leave a lot of residue in them, but I'm going to give it a go. I can't be putting it down if I haven't given it a fair test, and it is a big thing on TikTok. So let's give it a go. I have the classic Pears soap and I've got a spoolie on the end of my brush. To wet the soap, I didn't know whether to use water or sort of a spray. I'm just going to use the Revolution CBD Nourishing Essence Spray. So I've sprayed that on and I'm just rubbing my spoolie sort of into it. I think I'm not going to pack the brush on too hard because every time I've done that I don't like the finish it gives, and I'm going to try and keep it on the eyebrow because whenever it's gone on my skin I haven't liked it. But I have seen the sort of trick where you sort of rough the soap into the brow. This is low-key lathering up in my eyebrow. Is that meant to happen? I'm not sure. And then place it down. I'm just gonna wipe off the excess. Am I meant to be using it dry? Otherwise it lathers up. So I'm sort of just building it up a tiny bit. I sort of like the effect soap brows give. I like the laminated look, but I'm very particular in how they're laminated. I don't like them to spike up too much, but I do think they look really neat when they're sort of brushed out and laminated down. So yeah, I'm just gonna rough it around like this. So the soap then sort of coats every hair. This can't be right. And I'm just gonna wipe off the excess because mixing that with foundation doesn't ever look cute. I brush the first little bit of my brow upwards towards the middle of my head, I guess, but then the rest of my eyebrow I sort of will brush towards the temple instead of up as well. I just think it looks a bit neater. I'm just going to roll the makeup brush over the eyebrow because it will sort of then press it down in place, because I'm going to use an eyebrow pencil over the top. That is another thing I struggle with soap brows, is using an eyebrow pencil over this. It feels very counterintuitive. I find it hard now putting an eyebrow pencil over the top because I'm a big blender when it comes to running the eyebrow pencil through. So yeah, I'm just gonna really lightly fill it in, to be honest then. And it feels quite stiff now over the top because it's not going onto bare skin, it's going onto quite hardened soap now. I feel like soap brows have a big learning curve, which I haven't learnt yet. Okay, so I've done them a little bit, but we're just gonna stick with that. So the next is a foundation hack, which I'm really skeptical of. It goes against everything I know about makeup. So she moisturizes her face and then sets that with a loose translucent setting powder, and then uses a setting spray over the top of that, and then goes in for her foundation. It's meant to make it wear a really long time and look really smooth. Sort of goes against everything I know about makeup because you're putting powder underneath liquid products and it just doesn't make sense in my head. I've watched Jackie Aina do it, and she puts powder under her foundation and it looks really nice. So I have a little bit of faith in it because of Jackie. I'm gonna moisturize first with my Ordinary Natural Moisturizing Factors, avoiding my eyebrows of course. This is a great lightweight moisturiser. This is my sort of go-to. This is the one I use every day. The loose powder I'm going to use is the Too Faced Born This Way loose powder. I'm just going to sort of put that in the lid. What brush should I use? Okay, I'm going to use the Morphe A21 brush. It's not too densely packed and it's quite a good size. This goes against everything because she only loosely dusts it, whereas when I watch Jackie, she kind of presses down quite a lot of powder with a sponge. Overall, I did actually just use quite a lot of powder there. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the Milk Hydro Grip Set and Refresh Spray. I'm quite okay with using this under foundation as it's a really good sort of refresh spray. I put makeup over it all the time. So yeah, so I'm just going to mix that and douse my face in it a lot. Then you leave it to dry a tiny bit. I'm going in my L'Oreal Fresh Wear on the back of my hand because I want to coat my sponge in it pretty well. I feel like I'm not getting any coverage. Oh, there we go. I feel like I'm having to use a lot of foundation for some reason, because recently I have actually been using a brush and then just blending out any streaks. That keeps the coverage a little bit more because I think a sponge definitely can soak up product. And also this is why I don't do eyebrows before my base, because I hate having to try and work around them. I've been blending this foundation for a while and I do think it has changed the finish. It looks more matte than it normally does. And I can't tell if it's made it oxidize a little bit. I don't think it normally looks this dark. It definitely feels sort of set. It's really strange. I'm not sure how I feel about this because it makes it feel set. Like I definitely do not need any more powder. It made it harder to blend out originally. Like I was putting it down and I didn't think I was getting coverage. I just don't think it was sticking to my face. The sponge just kept picking it back up. Whereas now it has built up quite well and is stuck down. I think the coverage is still the same. I think that hasn't changed. If it then wears really well, then I'm sort of here for it. But I think the texture looks a bit heavier than normal. I like it to look a little bit more smooth and less cakey in a way. I think it just looks a little bit cakey. Not how bad I would have actually expected it to be. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It's definitely set it down and it will change the finish. It's probably really great for those of oily skin. My skin's not that oily, but I wanted to give it a go. And we'll see how it looks when I've done the rest of my makeup. No hack for this. I'm just gonna go in and conceal under my eyes with my NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. I think because I used that powder around my eyes as well, that definitely looks a little bit heavier as well, so I don't know how to feel. I'm just taking what's left on that powder brush that I used earlier to set that concealer down, just because I hate creasing. I'm just gonna put some lip balm on in advance for the lip pack I've got later. The next hack, which actually I'm not so certain on applying over this base because my base is so dry and powdery, but I'm gonna do it anyway because that's what this video is about. It's taking a sort of cream or liquid bronzer or contour, something a bit more neutral. You don't wanna go too warm. And doing a like dot here. So apparently like where if you went straight in, it would go to your teeth. There. It looks really low down. Just under your cheekbone where your teeth would be. And I don't know how I feel about this because this is exactly where I get a lot of acne and I try to lighten the area as much as possible. You know what, I'm gonna go in with the one I used, the foundation. It's not blending. I think it's because of the powder in my base is making this a lot harder to blend. Oh, there we go. Okay, we got some action. I don't think I'm gonna like this because I want to lift my face. I'm putting contour like up here normally, not all the way down my face. And especially this is sort of an area I actually try to lighten instead of contour. You know what, I'm gonna do sort of a little iteration of it. I'm gonna take the contour, but I'm gonna take it straight on the sponge and put it in the same area. I think that will just help with blending, but it will still put the pigment in the same area. It's meant to look, it came off really nice in the video and it's meant to just look a bit more natural side on. You can still see the dot, there we go. What do we think? How do we like it? I'm not the biggest fan. I think it just drags my face down. I do see what they mean about it looking more natural, but I think on me, it will just drag my face down. Everyone has a different face shape, so different places to apply contour and blush is different for different face shapes. Just to sort of finish up contour, I'm just gonna put some on my forehead. And another little trick I have seen people do is doing this with their contour. So it's very lifting to this part of your face, so I'm just gonna blend that out. Makes my brow bone look really prominent. That's quite interesting. I think that has quite a difference. I'm not sure how much I like it, but that's something to try again. The next hack I have is to mix liquid blush and highlighter to make sort of a Charlotte Tilbury Pinkgasm effect. The TikTok I found, it did actually use a Glossier cloud paint and the Refy highlighter, so I'm going to do exactly that. I feel like this will work really nice. I just have high hopes for this. So I've sort of taken equal parts and I'm just going to mix them. This is in the shade Dusk with the universal shade of the highlighter. Obviously you could go for something a little bit more highlighty. The Refy one is actually quite subtle. But yeah, I'm just gonna take my fingertip and place that on my face and blend with the bottom of my sponge. But I'm gonna build this up quite a lot. That tiny bit has brought so much life back into my face. I think I've been looking a bit dry, crusty from the foundation hack, but that is wonderful. It is taking away the sort of pigment from the cloud paint quite a lot. And in classic TikTok fashion, I am applying it sort of quite high up. I do apply my blush now high up, like sort of along the cheekbones. So mixing the highlighter and blush together seems to make sense, as now we apply them sort of in the same place. And I'm gonna take a tiny bit, is what I've seen people do on TikTok, just along my forehead, because it sort of brings it together and gives you a little bit of a sunburn look. Okay, I really like that. I can see myself experimenting with different highlighters and blushes as well. It definitely toned down the pigment of the blush, and I do really like that colour. So maybe I'd change the ratio of highlighter to blush. But so far, I like that a lot, and I think it's given me some more life back into my face that I completely lost. So up next we have an eyeshadow hack. You do about 4 stripes of different eyeshadow across your eye, sort of going deeper as you go out. And you just get a blending brush and blend them together. So I'm going to take my Anastasia Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette, as I thought it had quite a good gradient. And first take the glistening shade, which is just a lovely sort of pale champagne, and put that in the inner corner-ish. And then I'm just gonna clean that off. And then next I'm gonna take orange soda, which is just a sort of a warm matte next to it. And then take burnt orange just below it, which is a little bit more deeper. And do that next to it. And finally, I'm going to be a bit daring and go for rustic, which is quite a dark brown, and do that one on my inner corner. Okay, and this is what I feel like is the messy part. I'm just going to take a clean blending brush and work from the inside out. Just sort of blend in the edges. The dark shade on the outside is just a tiny bit harder to blend, but it is a blending. And to be honest, that's come out quite nice for what I did. Clean that off a little bit, just get any left over. Do the other side. To be honest, that is a good hack for someone that is a beginner to eyeshadow. It's a bit messy, it could be a bit neater, but I like that. I've seen a few people who have done it then go back in with the shimmer shade at the start and just sort of add that again. It sort of does just get blended into everything. Yeah, and that does just finish it a bit nicer. I wish there was something on the lower lash line, so I think I'm just gonna take burnt orange and just run it there just to join everything up a bit more. But yeah, if you're a beginner, that was so easy. And it's also a really great hack as well to experiment with different shades. Okay, so now I'm just gonna pop on some mascara quickly. Yeah, now I've applied mascara. I love that eyeshadow, that was really nice. That was a really good hack. I think that's one of my favorites so far. So I'm just gonna sort of wipe off what I have on my lips, because this hack is quite interesting. It is using your eyebrow pencil as lip liner, what you used for blush on your lips, and then a clear gloss. Interesting, I know, especially since I have quite light eyebrows. We're gonna give it a go. I'm gonna use my NYX brow pencil. I use taupe, by the way, and line my lips. It's actually quite a good colour. So I have lined my lips with the eyebrow pencil. It looks a bit strange right now, but I think it actually is quite a good shade. I don't know how this would look on my skin tone if I had darker hair. It would be very dark, but I'm okay with that. So now I'm gonna take my cloud paint that I used in Dusk, a tiny bit on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna press that into my lips and sort of blend it into the eyebrow pencil. Them tones complement each other really well. Because it's a liquid blush, it feels very thin. I have sometimes seen people do this with powder blush, and I don't know how I'd feel about that. But because this is a liquid blush, I think it blends quite well. Kind of looks a bit like a darker MAC Honey Love, maybe a bit more Velvet Teddy actually, because of the neutral sort of beigey pink is quite nice. Okay, and I'm gonna just take some clear gloss. I have Colourpop Luxe Gloss here in clear. I'm gonna take it on my finger because I have such a thing about clear glosses and keeping them clear. And there you go, that is my eyebrow pencil, blush and a clear gloss. I put a little bit too much gloss on, it's a bit gloopy. But I actually quite like that. It's quite nice. In conclusion, how I feel about these different hacks. The sort of foundation hack wasn't my cup of tea. I don't like it. I found it quite a lot of work for a finish that I didn't really like. So I don't see myself doing that again. The contour dot sort of down here, I'm not sure. I don't think I like that either. I think sort of sticking my contour up here is still more flattering on my face, and still side on, I think it still looks quite nice as long as I'm subtle and make sure to blend out. I think that is more the trick, making sure that you blend your contour and bronzer, because that is when it can start looking muddy if you don't. Mixing blush and highlighter, I quite like that, and I'm definitely going to experiment with more shades and more highlighters and make sure to use a bit more blush, because I felt like I used quite a lot of highlighter and then I lost the blush. You can't see much of the blush, but there is still a lovely sort of sheen and health that was added to my skin. The 4-stripe eyeshadow trick worked amazingly. That was really easy and it looks really beautiful. You would not know that I just did 4 little stripes and blended them. And it didn't take any blending time at all as well. So I like that trick, especially for beginners. If they don't know what they're doing with eyeshadow, that is a great way to sort of introduce it and make it less scary. And the eyebrow pencil, blush and gloss, I like it. It looks really nice. I think it definitely depends on sort of what tone eyebrow pencil and blush you use. But for me, I think that worked out quite well. It's quite flattering and wearable. That is all for today. Leave a comment down below of what you thought of these hacks, and if there's any other hacks that you want to see me try or that you have found actually to be quite good for you. Also, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. It was quite entertaining to film and play around with. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some future videos from me. Also, check me out on Instagram at Time to Put My Face On. I just post product reviews, photography, swatches. That's all from me, so I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye.